is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I'm going to be going over what was released a few days ago by Capcom, is how they had a survey of Resident Evil, and which got a lot of traction and a lot of people gossiping over what they're going to be doing next and getting real excited. And what that was they asked some questions, and one of the questions that got a lot of attention was they were asking fans which remake from the Resident Evil franchise do they want to see next. And I obviously made a poll about this, and the options I put on there was, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, Code Veronica, Outbreak 1 and 2, as well as Resident Evil 5. And I think the majority of people usually went with Code Veronica, which would be my answer as well. And then second place was RE5. Not too much love for Outbreak or Resident Evil 0, but nonetheless, it garnered a lot of attention. Now, first things first, is this really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things? We don't know. We don't know how serious they're going to be taking this. Are they going to be honestly listening? And, based on how fans answer, that's what they're going to do. Who knows? But either way, and I also heard some other unique options. I think the one that made me laugh the most was someone commented, hey, I voted Dino Crisis Remake, and I'll be the first one to admit, if you told me you had the option of any other Resident Evil game to be remade and Dino Crisis was also an option, as much as I love Resident Evil and want to see some remakes and like Code Veronica, I would take the Dino Crisis any day of the week. It was my first ever survival horror game, and with how that franchise has been treated the last 2+ decades, I would definitely take that, because that seems to be the more impossible thing. But the day they announced that, you might have to check my pulse. I might not be here right now, but all joking aside, let's get right into it. So, obviously, let's get to how I feel about these remakes. And with the way Resident Evil 4 Remake ended, obviously a lot of people thought that Resident Evil 5 Remake was going to be the next one. And granted, from a money-making perspective, it definitely makes sense from that way. And obviously with showing all the Wesker stuff and all the connections with Revelation 1 and Resident Evil 5, it just seems like that was the direction it's going towards. But I will stand on this hill and die on it. I still say that at the very least, if I can only get one remake before 5, it's got to be Code Veronica. And the biggest issues, and there's multiple issues, but first things first is the whole Wesker thing. Like, obviously to us older fans, we get who Wesker is. We know he's Resident Evil's greatest villain, how he's a menacing, terrifying, and excellent threat to the Resident Evil franchise. But a lot of the newer people, they don't know what makes Wesker a big deal, because a lot of people, in the last few years, their first Resident Evil might be 7, Village, RE2 Remake, RE3 Remake, and RE4 Remake, and they haven't seen Wesker yet. And they're going to be looking at him like, okay, he's just like any other person. What makes him a big deal? And you have to build that up. And to me, Resident Evil 5, which came out in 2009, was Wesker's last, appearance, obviously, because he died. Even though there's still some people to this day that say, hey, Wesker's not really dead. Even though that would not be the most ridiculous, crazy thing ever. And as I said, no one really truly dies, it seems like, in Resident Evil. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. You got to show what makes him a menace. And to me, that's where Code Veronica comes in, as we see Wesker, what makes him so terrifying and dangerous, and it gives fans, especially newer fans, that perspective, because they're just going to be looking at him like he's just like any other person. What makes him different from like a Sadler or anyone else that's come recently, or Mother Miranda? You got to have that build up. But another thing is just with Code Veronica, I think of all the games to be remade, it's the one that definitely needs it, because I feel like it can definitely improve. Now, I've made videos in the past how Code Veronica can be improved upon, in my personal opinion, and that I'm not going to go too detailed here. But Code Veronica also is a continuation of Claire's storyline. As you remember, people playing Resident Evil 2 Remake, Claire's whole purpose of going to Raccoon City was to look for her brother Chris, and Code Veronica is a culmination of that. But just jump to 5, that's just one of those loose ends never tied up for newer fans wondering, does she ever meet Chris? That's the first thing they're going to ask. Like, they're going to see Resident Evil 5, like, oh, there's Chris. Did Claire ever find him at all? And it's just, they're going to be left questioning, why is that never mentioned? But because that happens in Code Veronica. So that culminates that storyline. Also shows off Chris in the younger days on the RE engine, not just his Village and 7 cell, but you need that Redfield sibling team up on the RE engine, and obviously their encounters with Wesker. And so Code Veronica, to me, is just the easy one to pick. You gotta have, if I can only get one, that's the one I want to get. And Another big one that didn't get a lot of respect in my poll, I've heard, is Resident Evil 0. Now, I give Resident Evil 0 credit. It definitely was experiment with something at the time, and I think it's a pretty underrated title if you ask me. And I definitely would like to possibly see that. It's just I'm trying to get the ones I want the most, but I can actually see them honestly combining 0 and 1 together and make it a massive big game. But I'm going to save that for another video, another time. That's not the important part here, but I'd definitely like to see those areas on the RE engine, no question about it. Outbreak, someone made a good idea in my comment section saying, instead of remaking 1 and 2, why not just make Volume 3 and maybe combine elements from 1 and 2 and then add a bunch of new stuff. That'd be cool, because I'd like to see that game done well in the RE engine. But regardless of where you feel, how you see stuff going, that's where I stand. I definitely go with Code Veronica. But now let's get to the big thing that I noticed I didn't hear anyone talking about, is that I just want to preference my comments by saying we don't know the validity of this survey. Are they really going to take it that serious? We don't know if Capcom is just doing it as a publicity stunt just to get people possibly excited, or are they actually, taking it seriously. Whatever the poll, whichever game is the most heard on this survey is the one we're going to remake next. But it comes to the nature of the question, and they ask, which Resident Evil game would you like to see remade next? I think a lot of us kind of just expected, hey, they've already started on a next remake as we're making this video, like probably a long time ago. We don't know the exact date of when they started it because it hasn't been officially confirmed, but we just basically assumed that. But by how this question is worded, it just makes me come up with the feeling of, have they not started on it, or are they just like they haven't started on any of the remakes and they're just honestly asking us? Which, granted, I still like to believe they have already started, because if they haven't, that's going to take a long time for you to see the next remake, because obviously these games, they take a little while to make, even if they are remakes or not, or brand new games. But the point of the matter is, it just makes me wonder if they haven't started on it. Does that mean that it's possible that Code Veronica is more possible than ever? Because I just assume they've already started on 5, or maybe they can do the thing they did with 2 and 3 where they separate the teams. But granted, I hope they learned their lesson from that with 2 and 3. Granted, obviously 3, that's another option I heard, is that maybe they could add all the stuff that should have been in the game to make it a bigger experience. That'd be what they should do next for a remake. But all joking aside, if they do that separate team, hopefully they give the games the proper development time. Now, you can do 2 teams, but don't shortchange one team in favor of another one. Give them the proper time to develop and make a full-fledged game. And it could just be me overlooking it and wording it differently. But nonetheless, we really don't know. My basic assumption, I do honestly believe that they've already started working on whatever the remake may be. I would like to think it's Code Veronica, but it's more than likely 5. But maybe they can do both of them. But as I said, I like them to take their time with it and release a full-fledged project that's not rushed or trying to meet a deadline. Because once again, if you make a great game, make a solid game, as the sales have proven with the Resident Evil franchise, people will go out there and buy. And obviously we're seeing sales numbers being broken all over the place with the recent games. But and hopefully they take that data. And I like them to listen to fans and listen to gauge what they want to do. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with Code Veronica. That's the one I want to see the most. And I just wonder the time frame, because that's another thing with the time frame of these remakes, and that's why I was questioning the whole thing. Like, they haven't started on, which I assume they have, is we've been kind of blessed and spoiled rotten in terms of the time which these games come out. I mean, think about it. Resident Evil 4 Remake came out 2023. Village came out 2021. Resident Evil 3 Remake 2020. And just think about that for a second. What if they just pushed that back a year? What if Village just came out 2022, pushed it back another year, and then pushed Remake 3 back from 2020 to 2021? That would have been such a lot better project. Have that extra year to do more things with it, which I think was the biggest problem it had. Didn't have enough time because they wanted to rush it. But anyway, 2019 was Resident Evil 2 Remake. 2017 was Resident Evil 7, and I think 2016 was Revelations 2. But the point is, like, we've just been getting these games. Like, the biggest gap between the games has been, 2 years? And we get non-stop Resident Evil games that, for the most part, have all been pretty dead-on, solid, great, enjoyable experiences, regardless of which type of Resident Evil games you enjoy. But nonetheless, we have been spoiled rotten by them. So, I'm excited, eager to see which direction they go towards. But once again, my biggest thing is, I'd like them to listen to fans. I'd like them to take their time. We don't want any rush projects, and want things to be done right. And I'm excited to see Resident Evil 5 Remake. I do want to see that, but just not yet. I'm just wondering if they're going to listen more towards the money, which, granted, I can't argue with that because, make a boatload of money, but not implying that Code Veronica wouldn't. Because I guess another thing that's going to kind of dip against the Code Veronica is, remember, Code Veronica takes place in 98, 6 years before Resident Evil 4, which is the reason why I thought Code Veronica should have came first before 4, but now we're going to have to go backwards in time, and that might confuse some of the newer fans. But regardless, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think this survey is something they're honestly going to be listening towards, or it's just there for, make people, put them in a good sense of mood or mind? And also your opinion, which remake should come next, or maybe you're just like, I'm tired of all the remakes and I just want the next new official title, which I get and understand that too. But either way, I'm never going to turn down any Resident Evil game. I'm always going to be excited regardless of what comes out, whether remake or new title. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.
We'll contact you later.